Hello everyone, this is Satyajit Patnaik and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we shall be discussing about how to deploy machine learning models into Google Cloud. So you have trained a machine learning model that you are quite excited about and now you want to share it with the world. Now, building a web application using Flask, Flare, or any other technology takes around almost 30 to 40 minutes for build up. But how about making the application available on the internet 24x7? After all, if no one can see your machine learning model in production, who would believe that it exists? So let's try to deploy our machine learning model to production on Google Cloud Platform. For this particular deployment step, our requirements are simple. We would just need this computer, which we have right now, and a Google account. That's it. It's going to be very simple. Let's go ahead and understand the step-by-step process to deploy our machine learning model into Google Cloud. Before moving ahead, let's try to understand what is Google Cloud. GCP, Google Cloud Platform, is one of the primary options for cloud-based deployment of machine learning models, along with others such as AWS, Microsoft Azure, Alibaba, etc. With GCP, depending on how you choose to have your model deployed, there are basically three options, which are Google AI Platform, Google Cloud Functions, and Google Application Engine. So today's topic is all about Google Application Engine, but before that, let's try to understand what each one of them means. Now, Google AI Platform is an AI platform that makes it easy for machine learning developers, data scientists, and data engineers to take their machine learning projects from ideation stage to production and deployment quickly and cost effectively. So coming on to the Google Cloud Function, it's a very similar concept like the Azure functions. It's one of the simplest way to run code. It is an event-driven serverless compute platform whereby your function gets executed when needed without the need for server provision while setting up any other related compute resources. So we can easily configure a Google Cloud function and make it run by having a scheduling options. And apart from that, the third option is going to be the Google App Engine, which we will be showcasing in this particular video. Now, Google's App Engine is a platform as a service and cloud computing platform that's mostly used for developing and hosting web applications. The auto-scaling feature of the application engine automatically allocates more resources for the web application to handle the additional demand. This is the choice we experimented for this particular project, and let's see how we can create our first Google application engine. So for that, let's console.cloud.google.com. Now I have already logged into my particular account, but when you initially log into your account, you can go and add your credit cards. Now, how to add your credit cards? You can simply Google how to add credit cards in your cloud account, and immediately you will be having a bandwidth of almost 23,000, almost 24,000 Indian rupees. So I have it. I already have a Google account, and I have attached my credit card. So you can already see that I have a promotional credits of almost 2,300 HK dollars. I stay in Hong Kong, so it's in HK dollars. If you convert this currency to INR, it's going to be somewhere around 22,000 INR, which is more than enough to run any kind of POCs. Okay, now let's try to create our first application. To create our first application, we'll have to go to the IAM and admin, and then you will have to go to the manage resources. Now I already have certain projects, but let's try to create a new project, create new project, and let me provide the project name as breast cancer prediction. Okay, now let me also edit the project ID. Let me give the same project ID as the project name. Location, I'll not have to choose any organization. Let's create it. Our project ID can have lawyer. So let's have breast cancer prediction. Okay, let's. It's not available. 1999. Just I will add a number. Okay, that's fine. We have already created, and you can see it will be created in just 1 or 2 minutes. Let's give some time. It's created. Let's try to refresh the page. We can see that breast cancer prediction 1989 has already been created. Now let's go back to the compute section. We'll go to App Engine, then we'll go to the dashboard. Now my app is currently, let's choose my app. Okay, I have selected my app. Okay, now you can see this is my application engine front screen, and you can see that you can also deploy your command using a command line interface. Now I have already downloaded the SDK, but what you can do is you can simply go to this particular SDK, and this is how it will look like. Now you can simply follow the steps. You click on Cloud SDK. There you can get this particular option of Get Started. Once you click on Get Started, you will have different options called as, do you want it for Ubuntu, do you want it for Red Hat, for Mac OS or Windows. I'm a Windows user, so I have created for Windows. And next step, you just click on next. You will have this quick start for Windows. Then, like, obviously if you're using Mac OS, you will have your different steps, but once you have already downloaded this SDK setup, you just have to click next, and you can finish it. Once this is done, you can select you will automatically see this particular screen once you click on the finish button. uh, Now you just click on Y. You must log in to continue. Now, once you click on Y, a web browser will be opened with your credentials. Like this is my particular account, and just allow, and you will be able to log into the Cloud SDK. Okay. Now let's go back to my project and let's see. Now, so far my application engine is ready. Let me, if you want, let me open my application quickly. Okay, so let's go to my particular folder of GCP deployment. I have already created a folder called as GCP deployment. This is how the folder looks like, and this is my main.py. I hope you have already seen my previous videos, which was on Flask deployment and Heroku deployment. So in the Heroku deployment, I was using the file name as app.py, but in GCP deployment, I have renamed my file name to main.py because this is a basic requirement of GCP. The file name has to be main.py. That's what the interpreter. That's what GCP accepts your main file to be. Okay, very simple to your Java functions. When your first method is always your main method. Similarly, in when you are deploying your code to GCP, your main class, your main file should be named as main.py. Okay, so this is the script in which the prediction function is written, and where all necessary libraries listed in the requirements file needed for end-to-end data preparation and prediction are imported right here. Apart from that, there is one more requirement, which is my requirements.txt. Very similar to the Heroku part. I have simply copied and pasted this file from my Heroku repo. Apart from this, one more requirement is going to be your app.yaml file. Now, app.yaml file is nothing but it is used to configure our app engine's application settings in the app.yaml. So you have to just mention runtime and your Python version. If you are using Python 3.6, just mention it as Python 36. I'm using Python 3.7.3, so I have mentioned it as Python 37. Okay, accordingly, if you are using Python 3.8, you'll have to mention Python 38, right? So app.yaml file is also a requirement for GCP. Apart from that, everything remains exact same from my Heroku code. Now go back to your home.html. If you remember, when we were developing the application in Flask, here we used to have a local host. Here we used to have something like this, right? Localhost 5000 slash. But now instead of localhost, we will be having URL for predict. Now what is predict? Predict is going to be my predict function in the application in the main dot. One second, in the main.py. This is going to be my predict function, right? So everything remains same. I'm just using a pickle file, model.sav. I have already created my breast cancer model. Now if you are not clear with the Flask part, you can go back to my Flask video and try to understand how this file has been created. And now let's not go ahead and understand deep about Flask right now. We are concerned about deploying our code into GCP, right? So I'll just copy this particular path. I'll open my command prompt. I'll go to that particular location. Now before that, you can go here. You can see gcloud app deploy. Now let's try to let's before this particular command, what you can do is you can do gcloud init. Okay. It will take like 1 or 2 minutes. Let's wait. I hope till now you have already downloaded the Google Cloud SDK. If you haven't, you can do that. For me, I have already downloaded it, so that's the reason I am trying to run my gcloud init command. Let's see. Hopefully, it should be finished now, but I don't know why it's taking so much of time. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. So you can see my authentication is already successful. I am already logged in. In case, in your case, it is not visible this way, it might ask you for an authentication. So press Y, go to your, upon pressing Y, automatically one browser will be opened. Just allow authentication and you will be able to log in. Now I have already logged in. My project is selected as one of my previous projects, so we will change it. Let's try to create a new let's try to create a new configuration. Okay, let's just close it. Let's just close it. I'm just terminating it. So what I'll do is I will just remember this particular command, gcloud app deploy app.yaml project, and then I'll have to specify my project ID. Now my project ID, if I remember it, it is breast cancer prediction 1989. So let's try to see if it is working fine. If not, we'll have to change the project and then it will be able to deploy it. Let's try. Oh, it's successful. So it's asking for a region where you want your app engine application to be located. You can press anything. For me, let's press 5. Asia, Southeast. I should have selected 6, but it's okay. Now it's creating app engine application in project breast cancer prediction 1989, and the region is this. So it will take around 5 to 7 minutes to create it. Now, once the application is created, we can go to the dashboard and we can see the web page. Now you can see the descriptor is this. The We can just cross check if the path and everything is correct or not. Yes, this is my path. This is my app.yaml file. This is my source code. Target project is this. Everything is correct. And this is your target URL which Google has provided. Now just copy it. Do you want to continue? If all your settings are okay, just select Y. Now see, you can see it's uploading 8 files. So whatever files you have in that particular location in C, Python, GCP deployment, all the files will be uploaded to Google Cloud. Now in couple of minutes, the application will be live. So we will be able to see that. Now before it runs, just try to confirm once again if your application, if your main.py has this particular code, because if you are running it on localhost, if you even if you write without this code, it's okay. If you write app.run, it will still work because it's your local host. But when you are deploying it on Heroku or on GCP or on AWS Azure, you have to mention this, because only if your Flask name, a Flask application name starts with is equals to underscore underscore main underscore underscore, then only your app will be run. Okay, or else your app will not run. Like yesterday when I was trying this, I was just having the app.run and the code was failing. Like the deployment was successful, but the target URL was failing with some bad gateway interface. Then I had to fix that. Right. So make sure you have that particular code. Now let's try to wait for a couple of minutes. Now, as I said, there are multiple ways to deploy your application engine. You can see here, welcome to application engine, get started. If you get started here, there are different techniques to deploy your application as well. But we are developers, right? So I usually choose the option of command line. It makes me feel that I'm doing something, right? So that's the reason we have used command line interface. But if you want to work with ease, you can simply opt for this get started option. Definitely there will be multiple steps which will be asking for some options, and then you can go ahead and deploy it, right? But even the command line interface mode is also not very tough. It's like just couple of commands and your work will be done. So let's wait for a couple of more minutes and we'll see our application live. Okay, I just missed a small step. This particular code is present here. Uh, oh, it's live. It's live. So let's try to see this particular code. Now you can manually open it, or you can also type G Cloud app browse. Your default app is breast cancer prediction, so hopefully that will be opened. I'm sorry, your default application is SOE, the other application. So we'll have to mention the project equals to breast cancer, right? So then only it will open that particular application. You can do this way, or you can do this way also. Your target URL is already here. Just simply copy it and paste it in your browser and it will open. Now let's wait, and hopefully so the application is ready, and we have finally come to our page. So you can keep this particular API open. It will be accessible throughout for all the users. Anybody can access it and get their hands dirty. Obviously, this code is not a very enhanced code because we are just focused on the deployment part and not on the machine learning part. But at least something is better than nothing, right? So let's try to give some random values and submit. Yeah, it should go to the predict function, which it has gone. slash predict the patient is not diagnosed with breast cancer. So this is how your application is ready. Now, the next question is, if you are concerned about your billing, now let's say if you are just worried about that too much people might have an access to your application, they might use it, and your money might be utilized. So how to disable it? Now to disable it, you can go to application engine, go to settings. Now my default application is set as this particular. Wait a second. Breast cancer prediction 1989. Now you can go to here, and now we don't want to delete it. Just give me a second. I think, yeah, disable application. Okay. So to disable breast cancer prediction, type your application ID. So type your application ID here, go to disable, and application update operation is going on. Yes, your application is disabled. Now, if you just simply refresh it, it will give you an error 404, the requested URL was not found. Now, if you again want to make it active, go and enable it, right? If you enable it, it will be enabled. So this is how you can restrict your access, and so that, I mean, just for the sake of the billing purpose. And so that's basically about the entire GCP deployment. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, share it among your friends, and subscribe to the channel because it motivates me to provide more and more content. In the next few videos, I shall be coming up with the deployment steps on AWS EC instances as well as Azure cloud, and also I'll also try to deploy machine learning models on Alibaba Cloud as well. So that's it for today's video, and thank you guys.